So good morning. Welcome to the Hydrogen Insights by TÜV at World Hydrogen Week. So today with us we have Jean-Louis Kindler, CEO of Waste to Edge. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me today.
The pleasure is ours. So Jean-Louis, can you explain to us, just to start our conversation, how your path crossed with hydrogen and how has been your hydrogen journey so far?
I've been breathing hydrogen, I'm still alive as you can see, for about almost 25 years. I started my career in Japan. I was living in Japan at that time, and I have always been involved in clean tech and renewable energy development. And right in the very, very early 21st century, we're talking the year 2000, I was involved in the engineering and construction of a very, very early stage waste to hydrogen conversion process. And that took a good 5 years of my life. And actually, this is when I started being involved in hydrogen production. Then I moved to France. Got involved into fuel cell components manufacturing, so still within the hydrogen space, and then moved to the United States, where I live now, and remained involved with all sorts of renewable energy, including hydrogen production. And we founded Waste to Edge 5 years ago now.
Okay, so Waste to Edge, what is the main ambition of Waste to Edge event?
Our mission, oh God, our mission, so let's be more specific. Our business model, because this is what we're talking about, our business model is to engineer, build and sell turnkey solutions for converting waste, and typically municipal solid waste, into hydrogen. And that hydrogen is particularly important because that hydrogen is carbon negative, but I'll talk about it more in detail later.
And how does the process work?
How do we produce it?
How does the process work?
So this process, it is a thermochemical conversion process, meaning that we use heat to induce chemical reactions. That sounds very complicated, but in short, it is it's a modern version of what human beings have been doing all the time since centuries ago when making charcoal. When you make charcoal, what you do is you take a piece of log, you put it under a hood, you heat that up, and then all the gases, all the volatiles, all the organic volatiles that are within the wood go out as a gas, and what remains is the charcoal. That's pure carbon. And this is a process called gasification. Gasification has been around for a good century, probably even more than that. Town gas in Europe and in North America in the early 20th century was made using gasification. And this process has always been very, very interesting for all sorts of industries because essentially it is clean. And so what we do at Waste to Edge is we have developed an improved version of gasification to take municipal solid waste. So it's biomass, it's biogenic matter, it can be wood, textile, paper, food, etc., but also plastics, and heat this feedstock to a point where it will convert into a gas, and then it is all a matter of refining that gas to ultimately produce hydrogen. The specifics of our process is that it is very clean. It does not generate any CO2 atmospheric emissions, and it is totally self-sustained, meaning that this system can operate without external energy support, which is ultimately what we want to do with our energy production, be sustainable.
Wow, that sounds very exciting. And there's one thing I would like to highlight here. Before you mentioned carbon negative. right? And this is, I think, the key point we need to focus on. Because right now, when we talk about hydrogen, there are different shades of hydrogen. And in the best case, it's green hydrogen, which is, let's say, renewable. It's produced by renewable. And then there is blue hydrogen with the so-called low-carbon hydrogen. And here we're talking about hydrogen production process which actually is negative, has negative emissions. So is this actually too good to be true?
Well, you know, it's not easy being green. It's not easy being green, and I actually being here at the World Hydrogen Congress, the World Hydrogen Week, I feel a little bit like an elephant in a Chinaware shop, because everywhere around, everything is about low carbon. And what people seem to forget is that look at what's happening outside. We are having overheat, we are having crazy rain, we are having typhoons and hurricanes like crazy. We are having ice in both North and South Pole that is melting. We are seriously witnessing right now something that is literally endangering us, at least our life as we love it on Earth. And yet, we all seem to be happy with, oh, let's become carbon neutral, let's target 2040, etc. Well, that's nice, that's lovely, but it's much more urgent than that. We are already, I think, 420 or 430 ppm CO2 in the air. We are already very, very close to being 1.5 degrees average temperature above what it was when life was good to live on. There's a problem. And so what I strongly believe is that we need right now, today, to start working on solutions that literally suck CO2 out of the air, because just being neutral is not enough. And this is what we are trying to propose. This is what we're trying to offer, because it's needed. It's really vital.
Yes, I completely agree, and this is urgent. No? So and then my question moves to the implementation.
Mm-hmm.
No? So is this process already being applied at scale, and if not, how are you planning to bring it to scale?
So scaling obviously is a very important issue, because we need to deploy, and there's a lot of CO2 we need to suck out of the air. So the traditional view in the industry and engineering is that we have to scale up to make it big, to make it efficient. We chose to do these things and to scale a little differently by proposing distributed, decentralized solutions that can be deployed as a grid. And this is important because, again, we have climate events, we have hurricanes, we have tornadoes, we have all these kind of things that falling on one big centralized power plant, for example, would literally cut the power for a whole region. We need the internet of energy production. We need the internet of waste management. We need to be mindful of logistics issues. And so what we offer is a solution that typically would be processing about 30 tons of waste per day to produce 3 tons hydrogen. And this is almost exactly what the 20th century gasoline stands are doing. With the equivalent of, with 3 tons hydrogen, you can serve the equivalent of about 500 cars per day, while a gasoline stand in average serves 300 cars. And there are 110,000 gasoline stands in the US. There are 120,000 gasoline stands in Europe. And so where we are going at is really offering a solution that is local, that provides circular economy solutions to a community. Typically 10 to 15,000 people will be producing those 30 tons of waste. And with 30 tons of waste, we produce enough hydrogen to fuel, I said 500 cars per day. That can be 300 cars and several trucks or buses. But to make it short, it's the equivalent of what of the needs are for transportation for that same community. So we're talking really about being able to power the transportation of a community locally with something that will at the same time, again I insist on this, be sucking CO2 out of the atmosphere. So scaling does not necessarily mean making very big things, but spreading, deploying networks, deploying grids, and making this available anywhere possible. And anywhere there are human beings, there is waste, and anywhere there are human beings, there is a need for fuel, for energy, for electricity. And this is what hydrogen is able to produce, because we need to keep in mind that hydrogen, in our system, hydrogen is the ultimate product, but then that hydrogen, typically in the mobility station of the 21st century, it will be hydrogen that goes directly as a fuel into cars, trucks, buses, etc. But what is not being used as a fuel will actually be fueling stationary fuel cells to produce electricity for battery electric vehicles. I'm a big fan of battery electric vehicles. It's very important to have them. So with that, we literally have a solution that will be powering the fueling station of the future.
So decentralization as a factor of success.
Exactly. Exactly.
This is very, very interesting. And do you already have partner? Are you partnering with other companies?
So we have partnerships, and we naturally have partnerships because